All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter the illusion of the so-called modern playbook for success. You know the one. Instead, we're replacing it with the actual hard mathematical realities of building true wealth. We're fed a ton of myths about what it actually means to be wealthy, but right now, we're trading those myths for hard numbers.
But before we map out the exact mathematical solution to financial freedom, we've got to address the absolute elephant in the room. Why on earth are families making six figures, people sitting comfortably in the top 25% of household incomes, often just one single unexpected emergency away from total disaster? I mean, why does a $170,000 salary today feel like you're just constantly treading water?
So here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at the scarcity mindset trap, the middle-class illusion, the macroeconomic headwinds we're all facing, the exact milestones of financial freedom, defensive wealth strategies, and finally, buying back your time. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Scarcity Mindset Trap and the Middle-Class Illusion. Let's start by zooming in on the immediate pain points that keep incredibly high earners stuck on a financial treadmill they don't even realize they're running on.
This dynamic perfectly exposes what Elizabeth Warren famously called the two-income trap. Think about a couple from 1973 on a single income compared to a modern couple today on two. When that second paycheck entered the modern economy, families didn't suddenly get twice as rich. Actually, dual incomes accidentally bid up the cost of housing and good school districts. Families basically used both paychecks just to win the bidding war for a standard middle-class life. This leaves top earners today incredibly squeezed. They've got higher fixed costs and, wildly enough, less disposable cash than a single-income family had 50 years ago.
And by making that trade, families lost something completely invisible on a spreadsheet. When both parents entered the workforce to compete in this crazy housing arms race, they lost their backup engine. Think about it. A non-working adult was essentially the ultimate unemployment insurance policy. Zero premiums, infinite paid time off. If one parent lost their job, the other could step in. But today, with both incomes totally committed to a massive mortgage and skyrocketing childcare costs, there is absolutely zero backup plan. If a crisis hits today, that trap just snaps right shut.
So here's the ultimate reality check for you. Income simply does not equal wealth. Take two guys with the exact same degree, the exact same income, starting at the exact same time. Yet one guy has a net worth of 14 grand and the other is sitting on $340,000. Why? It's the new car penalty. Identity marketing totally tricks people into 84-month prison sentences for $54,000 trucks just because it makes them feel successful. Meanwhile, the wealthy guy buys a reliable used sedan, invests the massive difference in that monthly payment, and basically buys his freedom instead.
That $4,000 to $5,000 gap is huge. It represents the silent destroyer of wealth we call the depreciation cliff. That is the exact amount of cash the average new car literally torches every single year. I mean, a new car drops 20% of its value the second its tires hit the street outside the dealership. It's crazy. People will obsess over saving $2 on a coffee while literally setting thousands of dollars of retirement money on fire just to maintain that new car smell.
And this brings us to a massive psychological barrier. Driving 15 minutes out of your way to save $1.50 on gas, that actually costs you $14 in lost time. That's a classic scarcity mindset. Being cheap is basically an emotional reaction rooted in fear. But being wealthy, that's a strategic calculation of value. Wealthy people calculate the return on investment, or ROI. If an expense buys back your time, increases your earning capacity, or prevents a larger future expense, well, that's an investment, not a loss.
Moving on to Section 2, the macroeconomic headwinds. We have to look at the macro level now, because your individual financial struggle isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening against a backdrop of unavoidable, systemic economic traps that you absolutely need to understand to protect yourself.
$38.9 trillion. That is the staggering mathematical reality of the United States national debt. It represents a slow-motion economic shift. The bomb didn't go off in one cinematic crash. It's happening right now, slowly. And it has a direct, tangible impact on your mortgage rates, your purchasing power, and that inflation you feel every time you go to the grocery store.
This entire dynamic triggers what's known as Ferguson's Law. It's a purely arithmetic reality showing that 1 out of every 5 tax dollars collected by the government now goes strictly to paying debt interest. Let that sink in.
We are paying more to bondholders than we spend on the entire defense budget. Throughout history, whenever a great power's debt service outpaces its military spending, it triggers a massive economic rebalancing. The era of cheap money is officially over.
Adding to these macro headwinds, you might actually think you're playing it safe in the stock market, but your safely diversified index fund might be dangerously concentrated. Right now, just 7 tech stocks make up a staggering 35% of the entire S&P 500, and that's almost entirely driven by a massive, speculative AI spending race. If you own a broad index fund today, you essentially own 7 tech stocks and a 493-company hedge.
The top is a process. The bottom is a moment. With stocks sitting at near record valuations, we're talking priced at roughly 40 times earnings, and the smartest institutional money currently holding record levels of cash and playing defense, this quote perfectly captures the invisible threat of a market bubble. The top is a process. Everyone feels rich, the vibe is great, the market just creeps up. But the bottom is a single, brutal moment. You have to ensure you aren't over-leveraged when the music finally stops.
Section 3. Milestones of Financial Freedom and Defensive Wealth Strategies. Okay, we know the traps now, so let's outline the exact mathematical milestones and the defensive plays you need to actually escape those traps and build unshakable wealth.
First, we need to fundamentally reframe wealth. Wealth is not the income flowing through your hands, it's the bucket catching it. Hitting that first $100,000 line is absolutely crucial. Charlie Munger called it escape velocity. And why is that? Because having that cushion literally removes the low-grade financial static from your brain. It lowers your stress. The next level, up to $1 million, that's where your money starts generating a second income all on its own. And beyond $2.5 million, well, that's when you achieve total FU money, complete freedom from anyone telling you what to do. And you have to understand the exponential speed of wealth creation. The first stretch to $100,000 is an absolute slog. It takes about 8 years of you doing all the heavy lifting. But the jump from $100K to $200K, that takes only 5 years. Pretty soon, your money is clocking in for its own job. The compounding kicks in and the snowball just starts rolling downhill. You just have to be stubborn enough to survive that first slow stretch. Now, once your net worth crosses roughly $250,000, the rules of the game completely flip. The habits that got you here will actually sabotage you if you don't upgrade. The game shifts from offense to defense. You finally have something to protect, and you absolutely must guard your assets from the silent destroyers. This means hiring a CPA to optimize taxes, setting up an estate plan to avoid probate, holding a proper cash reserve, and buying strict-term life insurance.
And check out this incredibly small number, $383. That is the staggeringly low annual cost for a $1 million umbrella insurance policy. I mean, it's essentially $1 a day. It's just a simple piece of paper that sits on top of your auto and home insurance, but if you get sued, it completely saves you. It's the difference between losing everything in a single unforeseen lawsuit and walking away financially intact. Defense absolutely matters.
Section 4, buying back your time. Let's move to our final section. Because really, what is all this money actually for? It's for the single most valuable asset you have. So here is a crucial distinction. Spending money to outsource your lawn care or house cleaning, that is not frivolous lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is buying a fancier car that locks you into a higher monthly burn rate just to look cool. But paying a neighborhood kid $50 to mow your lawn so you get 4 hours of your Saturday back, that is a strategic ROI decision. You are buying back the only resource you can never ever get more of. And you can use that time to build a business, improve your health, or just spend quality time with your kids. So ask yourself this, if one paycheck disappeared tomorrow, would you adapt or would the trap snap shut? Throughout this explainer, we've seen that real wealth isn't about how much you spend, and it certainly isn't about looking rich to impress strangers. It's about having the margin to absorb a shock without losing everything. If your fixed costs are so high that losing a single paycheck ruins you, well, you aren't wealthy. You're just a highly paid participant in a bidding war. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think about every financial decision you make from here on out. The car you don't buy, the status symbol you ignore, the unnecessary square footage you say no to, that is the wealth. Every dollar kept from a depreciating asset is a dollar that buys your ultimate freedom. The only question left is, which one do you value more?